Ageless Beauty, Secrets from the Masters. Ageless Beauty breaks through the stereotype that life is over after 40. Join me and learn from our masters as they share their secrets to living a long, healthy, radiant, and vibrant life. This episode of Ageless Beauty is sponsored by the Herbal Cache. The Herbal Cache focuses on helping women over 40. They educate women on using natural remedies to look and feel younger and to feel good about your body. The Herbal Cache is giving you a free digital book, Women Over 40, How to Stay Healthy and Maintain a Youthful Look. This ebook shares tips and techniques to maintain a youthful appearance by keeping your body healthy. For more information about the Herbal Cache, please visit their website at www.theherbalcache.com.
Hi, my name is Lisa Rufsholm, and I want to thank you for being here today. I want to talk to you a little bit about hair analysis and how it can help you, whether it refers to anti-aging, which is your overall health, or symptomatically. I'm going to cover a lot of things today. I want you to have a pen and paper if you could do that while I tell you a little bit about my background. I began with hair analysis around 2006 and 7. I was very depleted and exhausted and couldn't stay awake for more than 6 hours a day. I would fall asleep sitting up in a kitchen chair, and I had 4 little girls here that were 6 to 11 years old. So you can imagine my plate was very full. I couldn't function normally, and I knew something was wrong. And at the time, I told my husband I felt myself dying at the core level. I knew it. I just felt it. So I was looking for answers. I had a friend whose mother had done hair analysis for 40 years, and I said I had nothing to lose. So I did a hair test, and come to find out, on a cellular level, I was so depleted in my electrolytes, I didn't have enough sodium potassium to regulate my own heart. I truly feel it saved my life. I could have had a heart attack or a stroke at the time. It was just inevitable. I was going downhill quickly. So it saved me. And I want to share with as many people as I can as far as our youth, our energy, and to age gracefully and happily and not give up the things that we love to do. So I want to talk to you about some skin, how we can take care of that as far as aging and overall health, energy levels, diet, heavy metal toxicity, which is my thing. I might touch a little bit on parasites, detoxifying, cellular permeability, supplementation, exercise. I'm kind of trying to get as much as I can for you in a quick amount of time, but I encourage you to contact me if you want more information, and let's get started. So let's talk about our skin. What's happening on the inside is definitely reflective of what's coming on the outside. So we need to look at our health from the cell level out, which is why I like the hair analysis. It is a soft tissue biopsy, a picture of what's been going on in your body for the last month on a cell level. And whatever's happening is definitely coming out on our outer appearance. That's how our body shows us symptoms of disease or something that is uncomfortable or needs fixing. So we want to look at the inside and what's going on. It could be an issue of toxicity. It could be a digestive issue. It could be an imbalance of minerals, which is too high, too low. It could be hormonal, creams. There's different things that we can do to help ourselves. So when we look at skincare, we can put all kinds of things on our face. We can use the things that say 70, 99% appearance approval. Well, that's an appearance approval. It's not underneath what's going on. So I look at what can we do to correct the cause. I don't want to just fluff it up and make it look good today, because eventually when we stop using those products, it's going to collapse and look the same way as it started, if not worse. With our collagen, that is 75% of what our skin is made of, second to water. It is a stretchy type of material, like a rubber band, and when it loses its stretch, it collapses and causes a wrinkle. So we can try to regrow that and replace and fix that at the cellular level. And I like to drink bone broth for collagen. You can also take supplementations if you are going to look for an organic, really clean source, but you can get organic chicken and organic beef bones and boil those with some really good vegetables, carrots, onions, celery. Throw them in a pot for an hour or two, get some good bone broth going. There's healthy fats in there that we all need for our skin and for our brain. And we tend to lose 2% of that collagen at the age of 28. It starts to deteriorate. So we lose that elasticity and the wrinkles start to begin. Also, obviously, with skin care, we want to take care of it in the sun. We all need vitamin D. We need that sun absorption. But if you're a real sun lover, it's going to age your skin quicker. And you need vitamin C to absorb collagen. So I encourage you to eat vegetables for vitamin C, as the normal diet, and I'll touch on that in a minute, is a bit high in glucose. We eat too much carbohydrates, we eat too much sugar, and those are the things that are aging us. Sugar and carbohydrates are the things that make us fat. Healthy fat does not make us fat. So we need to cut the carbohydrates and the sugars out of our diet to improve our skin as well as everything else. We need to look at our body as a house or a temple, and we need to take care of it from the foundation out. I like to look at the cells and say, what's going on way deep? Do we need to take out some toxicity? Do we need to rebuild a level that's low so things aren't moving? And if you think about it as your house, we have our cinder block foundation. You can't just go downstairs and pull out a bad cinder block and leave it. You're going to have a hole, a weakness, and a collapse. We need to detoxify and take out the garbage and then put back what should have been there in the first place. A lot of times that's heavy metal toxicity, which is a double-edged sword because it's a blessing in disguise. It will do the job of a mineral that's deficient, but we need to get rid of it because it causes disease and damage over the long term. We all know that mercury and aluminum are related to Alzheimer's. So we need to remove these things from the body and put back what's supposed to be there and help it run efficiently. Give the brain some healthy fats. Give the skin your healthy fats. As we age, we lose that oil production. So we need that to help our skin stay hydrated and smooth and protected against elements. So let's look at the house as what's inside. It takes us 40, 50 years to get here, and it's going to take a little while to clean up that mess and put it back the way it's supposed to be. We can't push it. I don't like the idea of heavy chelation and forcing the body to clear out, because we do that in a protective mechanism. We store these toxicities in closets in ourselves to protect it. And as those closet doors start to bulge, our body needs the tools it has to have to go clean that out. So it will go to where it feels it can clean out, and it will take the garbage out, it'll sort it, and then chuck it out of the house. We don't want to keep it. We want to get rid of it. And then put back in that closet or that storage what should be there. Maybe it's a mineral. Maybe, you know, it's something that you're deficient in and you need to store it there for future reference. And I'll get into a little bit about that with cell permeability. So we can't live in a hoarder house and expect to live a long, happy, energetic, healthful life. We need to start one day at a time, slowly, and give the body the tools it needs to correct these things. And then your skin reflects it. So when improvements start happening, just as symptoms of disease start to happen, you see that correction and things start to get better and look better and you feel better. But it's a process. And I'm more than happy to take that journey with everybody. So let's move on here. I want to talk about energy, because we all want more energy. As we age, we tend to deplete, and I want to give you a little information on that quickly. So where does our energy come from? Our energy comes from our mitochondria, which are the basics of our cells. We have 100 trillion cells in our body. We're basically energy and water. So we need to take care of these cells the best that we can. Not only the mitochondria, but the gut flora. And I won't get into too much of that, but we need to have good probiotics and good prebiotics, which can be cooked vegetables. They like to live on that fiber of the vegetables. But what happens is our mitochondria divide, and they're damaged when they divide to make new mitochondria. And we have telomeres, which are like little shoelace egglets on the ends of our mitochondria that get shorter and shorter as they reproduce. So we want to try to encourage them to be healthy longer, and we want our body to make new mitochondria. They can lead to anywhere from disease to death over time because we need those. They create ATP, which is an energy source for our body, and we need to get that powerhouse or ATP increased, for us to have more energy to clean house, so to speak, and detoxify, in order to have energy to exercise and heal. Stability and aging, it's everything. It's the bottom line of our body. So the blood-brain barrier has the highest concentration of the mitochondria. We want to protect that. You may have heard some of that having to do with Alzheimer's. We want to avoid things like citric acid, which could be lemon, lime juice, because heavy metals can cross that blood-brain barrier with that, as well as some medications. Adjuvants, which are in vaccinations, are purposely created to open that blood-brain barrier to get into there, and you can avoid the toxicity with things like that. Read your ingredients. What is in things and what could possibly disrupt or cross that? So we want to protect that in the mitochondria within there. What can we do? There's a lot of things that we can do to help our mitochondria health. Obviously supplementation, and I do specifically the needs to the individual's body. It's not a general overall multivitamin. It's what does your body need to rebuild and give the tools to detoxify. Someone can take a general general multivitamin, which would be like a toolbox full of hammers, but they need a saw. Their body needs something different than the general population, as well as the recommended daily allowance, the RDA. Someone may need 2-3 times what is the daily recommended because they're so depleted and they need more than the average person. So I can get real specific with that. I live in Minnesota, so it's cold and wet and yucky for 9 months of the year. And we don't get a lot of chance to go outside, get our feet in the grass, feel the warm sun. So we need to supplement with that. We just have to. We can't put our feet in the dirt. Obviously, we'd be up to our knees in snow. So I like to use products for grounding, which is magnetism. It is the same basis as if we're touching the ground with our feet and getting re-energized. And you can actually see, if you do some YouTube work, do some looking around, you can re-energize your cells with magnets. So I like to use some grounding products that are very effective in that. My mentor used them for 30 years before me. They're long-standing. They are scientific. Some people might think that they're not, but if you do some research, you'll find a lot of science on the magnetism re-energizing properties. As far as supplements, like I said, I would encourage everybody to rebuild your mitochondria. I have products that can reverse your mitochondria health and rebuild that and encourage and give your body the tools to do that. And it's about longevity. We can't have that if we don't have enough and we don't have healthy mitochondria. Some people have asked me, what's the difference between the genetic testing to find out where your health is there and the hair analysis? My opinion is I can do a test with a company and find out what my heritage and my genetic propensity is. But what do you do with that? What are you left with after that? Do you sit and worry the rest of your life? Am I going to get ill? Am I going to get a disease? Doesn't matter the outcome. Whatever that test tells me, I know I need to make changes and I need to do something healthful today and I need to start. So what am I going to do? I'm going to change my diet. I'm going to get specifically what I need and do everything I can to avoid that. I was going to do that anyhow. I didn't need to test for that. I don't want to get Alzheimer's. So I'm going to avoid mercury. Maybe have your amalgam fillings replaced with a porcelain type of thing so that you're not outgassing into your brain with that mercury. I avoid aluminum-based products like baking soda, and I get into it a lot with that with my clients. When I do get the hair graft back and I can see what the toxicity is, I am on a mission. I want to find out where could that have come from. Sometimes it's a product of the environment, a product that they're using, but sometimes it's from the past. It could have been vaccinations or an old tuberculosis diagnosis that they had. There's so many different things that can affect your heavy metal toxicity. And when you find out the reason, you can fix it. So that's what I'm after. I want to talk a little bit about cell permeability because I do deal with cells and the deep down things. Permeability affects so many things that we don't think about. If you go to the doctor, I'm going to give you an example, and I've been down this road myself. They tell you, oh, your TSH for your thyroid is good. You're normal. You're awesome. I knew I wasn't. I knew that that was a problem. It had been a problem since I was 13 years old, and I was on a mission to figure out what was the block. There's something not right. I don't care what my TSH was. Well, your brain tells your pituitary gland, make TSH. So your pituitary talks to your thyroid and it makes TSH and everything is happy, right? Not so. The TSH is made, which encourages your body to then form T4. That T4 has to travel down to your liver to be converted with selenium. So now you can see if you have a selenium deficiency, you're not going to make that conversion. And after the T4 is converted in the liver, it has to shoot the T3, which is the usable form of thyroid hormone that we need, over to the kidney and throughout your body through your cells. If you have a problem or a block among any of those processes, which could be cell permeability, it doesn't matter what your TSH is. There's an issue, it's not working correctly, you have to dig deeper. You have to find the cause. I have clients that have calcium shells, and let me explain that a little bit. When you have a trauma in your life, calcium and magnesium are released in your body to help calm your body. And you can see this typically with someone that's had a big trauma, maybe a divorce or a loss of a loved one, a traumatic injury. And within 6 months or so, their hair is very gray. I call them stress highlights, but it's a serious thing. Your body's trying to calm your body to not feel that trauma at the time full force. And it's a protective mechanism, but you can have what's called metastatic calcium, which is built up and unusable. That creates the beginning of osteoporosis as well. But the outside of your shell is coated with calcium and the inside has magnesium. The outside has sodium, the inside has potassium. So you need these minerals, those are your 4 electrolytes, to get things in your cell to function right and do what it needs to do, and then to push it back out. With a calcium shell, it's almost like an eggshell, so things can't get passed down. The thyroid process is disrupted, along with other hormones. They just can't absorb nutrients. They can't process and carry through the hormones. The oxygen isn't absorbed, so we're tired. Yeah, maybe we're not anemic, but we're tired because we're not absorbing our oxygen because of that shell. We can't remove waste effectively. So cell permeability plays a big part in our overall health. I just want to make people aware of that. So if you know in your gut something isn't correct, but somebody else has told you, oh, it's normal, it's good, it's all good, things look awesome, and you know, don't let that go. Follow your gut, listen to it, because there's answers. You just have to dig a little deeper. And it might be a disconnect in one of the processes, but I'll help you figure it out, or hopefully you can find a really good healthcare professional, natural path, chiropractors. I mean, there's somebody out there that can help you find those answers. So I encourage you to find those answers. So as far as energy, I like to start at the cell level, and we're going to find your mitochondria health and work on that. I'm going to get into some more fun things here. The next thing I want to talk to you about is heavy metal toxicity. That's my big thing. So get a pen for sure for this. Oh, the heavy metals. I like to deal with the heavy metals because I see such a turnaround when people detox from these. They can affect us in so many ways that you wouldn't have even thought. If you have some time, do some research on the different ones. It's incredible how they affect our bodies. Sometimes they can be used in a benefit. They will pinch hit, so to speak, for some of our minerals we're deficient in. And I can watch on a graph as some of the metals such as aluminum are eliminated, and it messes with the zinc. So the zinc will come down when the aluminum goes up and vice versa. It can be a benefit, it cannot be a benefit. So I want to get into a little bit about heavy metals. There's a lot of different sources. Our air, the foods that we eat, there are even organic foods. For instance, organic vegetables can be sprayed with copper sulfate, so you want to make sure that you rinse them very thoroughly, as well as for purposes of parasites. Eating raw vegetables does increase your chances of having raw parasites, so I like to encourage a lot of cooked vegetables. The added benefit to that is when your oxidative rate is slow or slow metabolism, it breaks down the fiber in the vegetables, so it's easier for you to digest. Your body doesn't have to heat up as much and use as much energy to digest those. And those fibers are what probiotics like to eat and chew on. So it's a good beneficial way to get a lot of vegetables and minerals in. I don't suggest a lot of fruit, if any, because we all have typically a raised glucose level, and we can get those same benefits of the vitamins and the minerals out of the vegetables. If you look, there's things in our food sources such as rice that we're finding high in arsenic. And we picked up on this a few years ago with the hair analysis, and we could correlate that, but it's come out in mainstream since. Soy is very high in cadmium at times, and 98% of soy products are genetically modified. If you don't understand the terms of genetically modified, I strongly encourage you to dig in and find out what that is. A lot of foods now have Roundup and the chemical in Roundup called glyphosate within the DNA of the plant. So you can't really avoid it unless you have an heirloom seed or something that has not been genetically modified, and it can do damage. If you think about things such as soy, I remember years ago hearing doctors would refer women to menopause to take soy. Drink soy milk. It has natural estrogen in it. It's great. It'll raise your estrogen levels that are falling during natural menopause and help. Well, sometimes soy can be related to breast cancers because of that increased estrogen. And if you think about it, a lot of baby formulas are made out of soy. So what are we feeding the babies? We're feeding them natural estrogen. What if it's a little boy that doesn't need it? So you have to think about these things of what you're putting in your body a little more than we used to. The food is depleted because the soils are so depleted and they've been sprayed, and pesticides and herbicides and all kinds of things have happened to it. So Grandma and Grandpa's food source 100 years ago was so much more healthy, and they ate better because they weren't eating processed food. So it's worth the time to take to meal prep, to plan out your meals for the week and get them ready, cut them up, put them in the fridge so it's a little easier. I totally understand what it's like when you have children and a lot of time commitments. I have a lot of suggestions for my clients that can be helpful. I have ways of cooking meals that are not used in a microwave and destroying the structure of the food. Things that you can do to prepare and make yourself a little less stressed about eating healthy, and quick shortcuts that we all learn the hard way. There are toxic metal chemicals found in our environment as far as carpeting, air source. We all know about this. Sometimes offices can be very toxic. I personally used to work in a corporate job for 4 years under the lighting that was just killing me, and it just drained me. I'd work 12, 14 hours a day and be exhausted, and I needed natural sunlight. So there's different light bulbs you can use for that. There's things such as pots and pans that we don't think about. We may be cooking in aluminum, or the hottest thing right now is these copper pans. Boy, oh boy, if you want to make yourself copper toxic, which is related to things such as skin rashes, anxiety is a huge one, blood disorders can happen with anemia, start using those pots and pans. Please don't use anything that's going to compromise your health, and know what it is before you do it. Sometimes aluminum pans, we can't really avoid it if we go out to eat. It can tend to be a little difficult. There are things that are contaminating us, like personal care products. Your deodorant, the main thing with an antiperspirant is aluminum. So you don't want to use that under your skin, on your lymph nodes, next to all the precious parts. You want to look for something that's more natural, deodorant more so than an antiperspirant. If it is an issue, try to find another source. I see a lot of aluminum toxicity with that one in particular. In your healthcare shampoos and your conditioners and hairsprays, toothpaste, please read what those ingredients are. Google it. These days we have the advantage of Google. So just say what it is, find out what chemical it is, and what does it do to you. There's always going to be another alternative, and I like to steer my clients towards those things that I've tried. Some of the natural things are not so yummy. They're not so good. They don't work so well, so we've all weeded through that for you. You don't have to do that. I like to take the guesswork out for you, and you don't have to guess, what should I eat? What supplements do I need? Let me take the guesswork out, because it's kind of confusing. These heavy metals can also inhibit our weight loss, believe it or not. They're trapped within that fat cell, and they block that permeability and that communication. So once people start to lose weight or even toxicity, they start to do what we call retracing, and you will revisit an old injury or an assault. Here's an example for you. I had one gal that was a dancer, and she called me, and one of her knees was 25% smaller than the other after some pain for a few days. And it was visible on a picture. What had happened is she had copper toxicity, and it had deposited in her knee. And when it was purged, which is retracing in a long process, you don't feel so good, but you need to get it out to be done with it forever. She needed to rebuild the knee because now she had an empty space. So she had to rebuild muscle in that particular joint. So that can happen. It can change your behavior. I have many clients that say, you know, I behave this way, I'm angry or very emotional, but this is not who I am. I know who I am, and sometimes I react this way, but I don't know why I react that way, and after the fact, I don't know what I can do differently, and a lot of times it's heavy metal toxicity. We've done studies on prisoners even and seen a pattern of behavior tied to a heavy metal toxicity. So sometimes it isn't the way we are, sometimes it is biochemically how we're made to behave. And the symptoms can be caused by that greatly. I have a sheet that I send to my clients that breaks down symptoms with different toxicities. So it's a great explanation to calm my mind and say, okay, I don't have cancer instantaneously. It could be, and it's leaning towards this. So it's a nice way to explain things that are temporary, that are going on in our body, and not panic. It can speed up the aging process. Toxicity is like rusting. Same with oxidization. It just ages our body. We are not set up to handle and carry around heavy metal toxic loads. So that moves us into detoxification, which is one of my things that I really like to do with clients because I see the most turnaround and health benefits quickly. Oxidative stress can be found on the hair analysis, and it tells me, are you a fast or are you a slow oxidator? If you're a fast, you tend, and this is generalized, you tend to sweat a little bit easier, your hands and feet are warm, you can eat a whole lot more and metabolize and not gain a lot of weight, whereas a slow oxidizer is the flip of that. Cold hands, cold feet, motility is maybe slow, don't go to the bathroom very frequently, maybe days. So there's a difference there that I can see on the hair test on how you're processing things. There are things that we can do to change our oxidative stress after we obviously know what it is. We can do some exercise that always increases it a little bit. We can do some heavy metal detoxification. We could get rid of the chemicals, and we can dig into deeper issues to find out why are we so slow. You know, is it a thyroid issue? Are our adrenals burning out and we're exhausted, needing a whole lot more rest and to kind of quiet the body down and allow it to do so? And it can cause us to age. Oxidization is basically rusting. If you think about metals on the outside, well, the same thing is happening on the inside. So we want to take away the oxidative stress. I have a product that I like to use, as well as my whole program and dietary recommendations, to bring you back to the state of an infant in oxidization. It has 40 years of medical backing. It has thousands of examples. It's natural. It's not synthetic. But it opens up your pathways in your cells to let out glutathione, which is our biggest antioxidant found naturally in our body and also related to your thyroid. So that'll help that as well. I use liver and gallbladder cleanses. Some of them people have tried are very hurtful. I like to do things gently, naturally, and at the body's own pace. So I do recommend coffee enemas, and everybody's first reaction is this: no. It's not a giant bucket. It's not a big hose of a gallon of water. It started with a cup of water and a teaspoon of coffee. You can do it in your bathroom with a setup that you buy at Walmart, very inexpensively, but it is like a dialysis of your liver every 2 to 3 minutes, and it cleans up that bile. Our bile is recycled, 2/3 of it, so it takes it up there, it cleans it, and then you purge the garbage that's in your liver. You can deal with pain better, you can process your nutrients better, and even medications are found to work better. They used to use it in the old days, so to speak, old days. because it did relieve pain. Even if somebody had an amputation in the war, they would do an enema to help them alleviate some pain. So you want to keep your liver clean. It is the bottom line health of what's going on. I like to use a lot of skin detox modalities so we can start to purge. It's our biggest organ. Get rid of the junk out of your skin. A slow oxidizer that tends not to sweat very easily will have more breakouts, cold, and can't detox as efficiently. I love lymphatic movement. Our lymph system is almost like a garden hose. It doesn't move unless it's encouraged to with exercise or massage. If anyone's ever had one, you know they tell you drink plenty of water so that they can flush all that through. But there's natural lymphatic massages that you can do to help clear that and get things moving. And the cleaner they are, they're like your strainers of your body, the better off you'll be. You often hear times people have cancer and they have to remove the lymph nodes where it's stuck. So we want to keep that system clean. You can also detox with air purifying systems in your home. I would really highly recommend that you do your homework on the air purifiers and clean water. There are many, many water systems out there, from the big stores, box stores, to online. Some of them are thousands and thousands of dollars, but there are some that are much less, that are just as effective, if not more so. I like to use one that I drink mineral water, spring mineral water. And I can recommend you where to find a good source. If you want a free source that's hopefully close to you, you can go to findaspring.com. But I also filter it through a system that re-energizes it with magnetics, and it puts minerals back into the water, and I know it's a clean source. Fluoride will cause you to have holes in your bones if you do any kind of industrial studying on that. I don't encourage fluoride. They really can't dispose of it. It's a process of the alumina making, and you can't bury it, you can't dump it. So it's in our water source and in toothpaste. So try to avoid that and do some research. I always encourage people to do education. So that's just a little bit about detoxifying. I have lots of modalities that I use. People can pick and choose and do one or two at a time. But I want to encourage you to clean, and then we can start to rebuild specifically. When you get rid of the garbage, you start to have more energy, and you start to feel better, and you start to move more, and you start to appear better because things are clean. And I want everybody to experience that. Let's move on now. I want to move on to some supplementation with you. Okay, let's talk briefly about supplements. There's a ton of them on the internet. There's a ton of them in any store that you go through. I strongly encourage that you look at the quality, not just the company. See if the company's been around for a long time. The one that I like to use is Endomet Laboratories, that is tied to my analytical research laboratory, hair analysis company, because it's been around for 40 years. It's all natural. There are synthetic supplements out there. They cause aging, and they have GMOs in them sometimes, and they can have fillers. There were 3 recent big box stores that were called out on carrying different companies' supplements that claim to have product in them that were found to have none of the product in them. So you need to be really careful about where you're buying them, because you want the most for your dollar, and you want it to do benefit for your body. Be specific. That's why I like my hair analysis. I can tell you what your body needs specifically in order to correct the imbalance and to start to moving the heavy metals safely, effectively, and over a period of time. It's not an instant quick fix, but I can tell you how to take a natural, time-tested, laboratory-tested supplement that isn't going to do harm, and that's going to do what it says it can do. And that's important, because we don't want to throw our money out the window. I want to encourage everybody to use probiotics. Some people say they're not necessary, but 80% of our gut is our immune system. So you want to keep that healthy. We need those beneficial bacteria for our microbiome. It is essential to our life. We need good probiotics. I prefer one called Probios, and I can tell you how to get a hold of that. But it's freeze-dried layers, so that as it goes through the digestion, it's going to work at certain specific places and release what's needed there instead of killing it all off in our gut, and then it's done and gone and a waste of money. I also like to rotate with other ones, because if you just take one probiotic, you're going to get a whole lot of those bacteria, but not the others that you probably will need and need to help bump or grow. If you have the need to take an antibiotic, I always encourage to take a probiotic in between those. So for instance, say you had something where you just had to have one of the psyllins, and you take it in the morning and you take it in the evening, take a probiotic in the middle of the day and reestablish and regrow that good bacteria so you don't wipe those out. That's a lot of times what happens when somebody gets C. diff. So we want to avoid those type situations. Every day we just feed our little garden of good bacteria, and it gives us better health, and it fights off everything from fungus, parasite, bacteria, toxins. So feed your guts. The one thing with supplements that I want to really push is, if your liver is congested and it's not been cleaned and it's slow and sluggish and backed up, you can't process a whole lot through there. Once you've cleaned that out, it's much more beneficial. It's much more impactful for whatever you're taking to be absorbed and used correctly. So you don't want to go out and take a tackle box of supplements. It's not going to do a whole lot of good. It's just like taking too much of vitamin C and we just urinate it out. So you want to have specifics and the basics that what your body needs to rebuild, and then break down into the little pieces that it needs to. And you need the correct ones. So I can help you with that, and there's great professionals that can help you with that. There's some things in supplementation that are really beneficial, and I was kind of looking at it as an aging or a preservation type of way. Omega-3 and 6 are really good for brain food. They're really good for protecting your skin and give it the oils that it needs so it won't dry out and cause wrinkles and be apt to crack or bleed. The omega-3 and 6 have antioxidants in them, and we need that to take out the free radicals or oxidative stress. And what those are the cells that are damaged and the electron is missing, and it'll bump into a healthy one and steal it. So then it makes another bad one. We want to take those out. So omega-3 and 6 will help with the antioxidation, and they decrease hair loss. And as we age, we tend to get a little more worried about that, and that tends to happen for many, many reasons, from hormones to lack of supplements. There's many reasons that I look into. But the omega-3 and 6 can increase the thickness and the density too. Sometimes our hair will thin. So if you want a little bump in that, you want to use the appropriate amount. Biotin, I found, is a great thing, vitamin B7, to help spur growth of hair and larger thickness of the hair itself. Pantothenic acid, which is B5, it promotes hair growth. The one thing is, I like to make sure that I know what everybody's taking, because pantothenic acid can give one a little energy. And if you're a slow oxidizer and your body needs to just calm down to correct things and do its thing, it can push, and it can give you more energy than you should have. And then you go to your to-do list, and then you use all your energy on your to-do list rather than fixing what's wrong inside. So selenium is another great one that I like to suggest. 400 micrograms a day, maybe 200 in the morning, 200 at night. 200 at night is great for your thyroid, because, as I explained, that T4 is converted in the liver to T3 with selenium, and it's been shown to decrease breast cancer by over 70% just by having that selenium daily. So that's a really good thing to take. Vitamin D, obviously we all need vitamin D. If you're living in Florida, you're outside all the time, you're probably safe, but you can check those levels with your doctor's blood work. I just put everybody on a 5,000 international units a day, unless, like I said, they're living outside a lot. And for me in Minnesota and a lot of my clients in the upper Midwest, we greatly need that. It's linked to depression and all kinds of serious issues. The calcium and magnesium that our body needs is a big concern with me. My older clients a lot of times will have signs of osteoporosis, and that is a deposit of calcium. Now, magnesium, like I explained, is on the inside of your cell, and it helps to keep calcium in solution in your blood. So when we have that buildup of calcium, we want to liquefy or melt down and remove to help arthritis symptoms, to just get our body out of that osteo state. We can take magnesium, but on the flip side, you don't want to make your body have too much, because A, you can get diarrhea, nobody likes that, and B, you can actually strip too much of the calcium off. So you need the right ratio, which I talk to a lot with my clients, a 2-to-1. So it's optimal. You don't want to have too much or too little of one thing. It's all about balance and what the basics are needed in the body. With diet, there is 1,000,001 diet plans out there. Everybody is the new latest craze, the best, this works. Everybody is very unique. I do have a very general diet that I recommend to my clients, and it's back to the basics. So if that makes sense to you, I'm your girl. I have looked through every kind of diet under the sun. Basics, protein, very lean protein, healthy. I don't recommend fish very often. Sardines is about it, because they accumulate a whole lot less of the toxic metals. They're such a small fish, and only Atlantic caught skinless boneless. That's the reason for not recommending fish, but I do want to encourage everyone to eat a lot of healthy protein, a lot of mixture of different kinds of vegetables, cruciferous, root vegetables, green leafy vegetables, healthy fats, almond butter, coconut oil, MCT. There's a gamut of them, but they're so good for us. Sugar and carbohydrates are what make us fat, not healthy oils. If you want to do the ketogenic diet, right now it's just huge. Do it triannually to reduce and reset your metabolism. Nobody should stick to like one serious diet plan for your whole life. It should have variety. It should be general, and it should be your meats, your vegetables, your healthy fats. Dairy, I tend to steer clear from. I can talk to individuals specifically on that, unless you can get your hands on some raw, good dairy. There's raw dairy cheese that's beneficial. Eggs have always gotten a bad rap. They are so good for you. If you look at some of these ladies and gentlemen that are 98 years old, they were on the farm working hard all their life. They ate eggs, they ate meat, and they had snacks, but they worked their tails off. But they ate healthy and very generalized. I mean, just a common sense diet. You can burn fat more so with the keto versus glucose and put your body into a reset like that, which is good. We all have too much glucose. So I would love to go over diet with whoever needs help with that. I know it's confusing and there's 50,000 different recommendations, but one of the things the hair analysis tells me is how much of what are you needing, so I can get real specific and take the guesswork out of it for you. All right, I want to move on to exercise a little, and hopefully you're not like, but it's a good thing. So what do you think of when I talk about exercise? Do you think of marathons or doing a 5K? No, I'm talking about just moving, just getting started. Some people have really good regimens. Some people don't do anything and they're sedentary. So I like to encourage you to just move a little bit every day. Start with 10 minutes a day, gentle walking, doing a few stairs, maybe park a little farther back in the parking lot. The benefits are endless. It raises human growth hormone, which is naturally within us, and it's anti-aging, so that helps. It is psychologically a wonderful de-stressor. It just helps us relieve and release a lot of that, so it can eliminate some physical and psychological stress. Sometimes we don't think about that. Just getting some oxygenation, deep breathing, it is so refreshing, and we don't realize how our energy levels can go down and we can actually calm ourselves. So that's a great benefit to exercise. And I'm not talking go start running, 5 miles a day, just a little every day, and add upon that. Just build and use your common sense on how you feel. Find something that you enjoy, whether it's yoga, Pilates, riding a bike, taking a nice walk. Do something that you enjoy and it feels good. Maybe when you were younger, you played Frisbee with your friends or softball, or just do something that you really enjoy and get moving again. It helps with weight loss, obviously, we all know that, but it also rejuvenates your mitochondria. So going back to that, it helps their ability to function and to reproduce, and it encourages new mitochondria production. So the muscles, even brain tissue, all of them are happy when we do our exercise. Just think about it. They're getting more oxygen and they're getting more nutrition, and they're able to fix themselves and they're able to duplicate themselves more efficiently. It can ward off osteoporosis and arthritis pain. Osteoporosis is bone loss. It makes our bones stronger and better with the impact. Even if you're not doing a high impact exercise, just walking puts pressure on those joints, and just like weightlifting, it's going to rebuild. There is sarcopenia, which is muscle loss and strength mass. It can help not lose that muscle mass. I can help you with that. We don't want to lose our muscle. As we age, tendency about 40, we start to lose our muscle mass, and we don't want to do that. We want to be able to support our bones, stand up straight, good posture, strength to get up and down, strength to just go throughout our day. So as far as exercise goes, it's one of those great benefits that doesn't have to hurt. You don't have to go be a bodybuilder. You just need to do some strength training to gain a little bit, retain your muscle, and get the blood flowing, get that lymph system moving, and clean our bodies out. And then when we take in nutrition, it's better absorbed and it's better utilized. So we feel better, and then we get the rosy glow on our face. So I encourage you to get some fresh air if you can. Here in Minnesota, we have to find alternatives. If you do, sometimes in the southern states, it's too hot. Find some good alternatives, but do something that you love and enjoy and makes you feel happy. So I encourage you to look around on my site, hairanalysisnutrition.com. You can purchase a kit there to start your health journey with me and do your hair analysis. You can sign up for more health updates and learn some more information. I'm here for you. I deal with all of my clients over the phone and on email, so you don't have to leave your home. And I look forward to helping you. Thank you so much and have a good day. Bye-bye.
This episode of Ageless Beauty is sponsored by The Herbal Cache. The Herbal Cache focuses on helping women over 40. They educate women on using natural remedies to look and feel younger and to feel good about your body. The Herbal Cache is giving you a free digital book, Women Over 40, How to Stay Healthy and Maintain a Youthful Look. This ebook shares tips and techniques to maintain a youthful appearance by keeping your body healthy. For more information about the Herbal Cache, please visit their website at www.theherbalcache.com.